Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Wednesday, 19th March 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Trinidad and Tobago's new Prime Minister unfazed by opposition's threat to take the matter of his appointment to court. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago's new Prime Minister Stuart Young says he will not be hindered in any way. This is in response to a potential legal threat from the opposition United National Congress on his appointment as Prime Minister. TTT News has more.
Speaking to reporters, Mr. Young said he has called on the opposition to join with him to build a better Trinidad and Tobago.
It is up to the leader of the opposition and every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago as how they want to go forward with Trinidad and Tobago. I am not going to be hindered in any way by anyone who does not want what is best for Trinidad and Tobago. There may be legal parameters, etc., but so be it. And let's wait and see how it unfolds. I'm not going to presuppose it, but I will do all I can on your behalf. I have said I will continue to fight for Trinidad and Tobago.
And Attorney General Camille Robinson-Regis said the previous government ensured that they had a strong footing in making this transition.
We will wait and see if that threat becomes a reality. The issue is that we have not gone into this lightly. We have looked at the Constitution ourselves. We have looked at the clauses that relate to the appointment of a Prime Minister. In addition to that, the letters that we sent to the President covered all the possible bugbears in that appointment, and we do believe that we are on a very strong footing. So we do not expect any rightful challenge to what we have done.
In the meantime, Prime Minister Stuart Young's SC has unveiled his new cabinet for Trinidad and Tobago. Again, this TTT News item has some details.
29 ministers, including the Prime Minister, were sworn in on Monday.
There were key changes in some ministerial portfolios, while other ministries retained familiar faces. Among the most notable shifts, Camille Robinson-Regis has been appointed as the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, while former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Vishnu Danpal, takes over as Minister of Finance. Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez was reassigned to the Ministry of National Security, while the former National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines has been assigned Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. Adrian Leonce will now oversee the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Colm Imbert, a seasoned politician and former Minister of Finance, will head the Ministry of Public Utilities. Additionally, Minister of Digital Transformation Hassel Bacchus will continue in his role with an expanded portfolio as Minister in the Ministry of Finance. Prime Minister Young will retain the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries. Some of the ministries that retained previous ministers are the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Works and Transport, Ministry of Planning and Development, Ministry of Sport and Community Development, and the Ministry of Rural Development. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
Immediate past Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley may go down in history not just for his politics, but for his punchlines. As he demits office, CNC3's Kejan Haynes looks back at some of his most quote-worthy moments.
Prime Minister Rowley will join the ranks of Basdeo Pandey as being one of our most quotable Prime Ministers.
Absolute poppycock, Madam Speaker. Falling for the foolishness. That is the level of dwarfishness that is spoken by the opposition.
A straight-shooting, no-holds-barred speaker, Rowley used everything in his arsenal in defense of his truth.
And in case you were just opening your fridge and you didn't hear that when you closed the door, let me repeat it. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
His Tobago upbringing forged his lexicon using proverbs to explain complex situations or bring humor.
And it was a classic case, as we say in Tobago. You who do good for Jumbe, you Jumbe frightened.
But it was during the pandemic where the Prime Minister would really shine.
So, from midnight tonight, don't jackass the thing.
Rowley told the story of a friend who reached out to him hoping to get an exemption to come home. You'll remember at the time the exemptions were only for valid TT passport holders because the borders were closed. But his friend, having dual citizenship, had let his TT passport expire.
Oh man! It's a dog foot break if I in my yard.
As far as effectiveness goes, Dr. Winford James says Rowley's turns of phrases will counterbalance sometimes with the harsh truths that came with them.
The problem with him is that he says these very interesting things, and at the same time he comes out and says things that people are not happy with him about, including the people in his cabinet and people in his party. So the question is the kind of balance that he should have maintained if he wanted a certain amount of, shall we say, balance in his statement, that statements that could have made him likable, could have improved his likability.
Guardian Media reached out to cabinet members to ask them which of Rowley's quotes stood out to them. In 2020, Randall Mitchell was not chosen to recontest San Fernando East. He said Rowley told him, "You never know where wind come from to lean foul tail." Mitchell admitted he had to look it up, but said his understanding was that it meant that you never know how quickly and how unexpectedly things can change for the better. For incoming Prime Minister Stuart Young, two simple quotes stand out. Work is for young people and make decisions based on principles. For now, we send off the Prime Minister the same way he sent us out over the years.
Thank you all very much, and see you again sometime soon. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Thank you. I hope to see you again sometime. Thank you, Prime Minister.
Keishan Haynes, CNC3 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Shane Superville spoke with supporters on their thoughts and expectations at PNM's special convention on Sunday and discovered the level of political fervor in high gear at Woodford Square, Port of Spain on Sunday last, as the People's National Movement revealed their 41 candidates for this year's general elections to supporters and the general public.
The sense of camaraderie and party loyalty was palpable at Woodford Square as the PNM unveiled their list of candidates for all 41 constituencies ahead of this year's general elections. The event, which was equal parts official party business and an outright party for its membership, attracted throngs of attendees, from the young to the mature, and even their four-legged friends. But apart from the party's usual battery of supporters and advocates, there was an unexpected appearance from former UNC member Larry Lala. Lala left the UNC in February, saying he was unable to bring about reform in his 9 years with the party. He told CNC3 News his attendance at the PNM's event did not confirm his support, as he was simply keeping an open mind.
I intend throughout this election period to visit meetings held by various parties and hear what is being said. And I think every right-thinking member of our country, every right-thinking citizen of our country should do the same.
And as the event served as a welcome to new and returning faces to the PNM's roster, several supporters were hopeful that the fresh candidates would make a difference. One lifelong Laventille resident, Albert Sprott, said he felt his incoming MP, Kareem Marcel, was the right fit for the job.
He know because he's from the community and he know what Laventille West needs, right? And you see that he's taking this challenge to really see what he can do for Laventille West. It's a good challenge.
Diego Martin West constituent Antonio Samuel said he felt that the event itself was a call to action for people to stop blaming others and get involved in working towards a better quality of life.
Everybody blaming this one, blaming that one. It's not to blame. It's to come out here and try and see what you could do for the people. Because that way everything is about, the people.
But despite the politically charged atmosphere, there were many supporters who attended to simply have a good time. And while the event served as a major milestone in the pre-election calendar, the good vibes and fun was just as important to many attendees. Shane Superville, CNC3 News.
And still from Trinidad, Prime Minister Stuart Young says he has already engaged with at least one UK government minister to discuss the recent visa restrictions implemented. On Sunday evening, then Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley called on the government of the United Kingdom to review what he called an unjust action against the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Sunil Lala of TTT News reports.
This treatment by the British government should let all of you know how they view us. And if you believe that they have come around to thinking that we are equals, you have another thought coming. Many of them still believe that we are substandard, we are inferior, and they should treat us as they want to treat us. Today I want to call on our friends in the United Kingdom to review that unjust action against the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
He was speaking at the PNM's special convention at Woodford Square in Port of Spain his last evening as Prime Minister, noting that it should be a sign for Trinidad and Tobago to move away from the Privy Council. He said TNT has been working with the UK to identify the ragamuffins who are leaving TNT to head to the UK seeking asylum.
And if they cooperate with us, they wouldn't have any refugee problem. But it is unfair. It is unjust. It is disgraceful that they will disregard our wider national interests, put a fee on us, and tell us why you have to come to us to have our lords tell you what is right and wrong. You have to pay for a visa to come and do that. Trinidad and Tobago must complete its independence and get to hell out of the Privy Council.
And speaking to reporters after being sworn in as Prime Minister on Monday morning, Prime Minister Stuart Young said progress has already been made.
We have already engaged the UK government with the people here. Also, at least one of their government ministers. I've already had a meeting with that government minister virtually. I've made certain requests, and yes, that is one of the areas I will fight for Trinidad and Tobago in every way possible to build a better Trinidad and Tobago from the strong foundation that we have.
Last week, British High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, John Dean, in a social media message, said the visa requirement for Trinidad and Tobago nationals headed to the United Kingdom was implemented from Wednesday, March 12th, in the wake of an uptick of TNT nationals seeking asylum in the United Kingdom. Sonolala, TTT News.
In other news, Jamaica's opposition has slammed the government's handling of the economy, citing rising costs and sluggish growth as signs of failure. They argue that with 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, the numbers reflect the true state of Jamaica's economic struggles. This CVM News report with Ramon Gordon brings us up to speed.
The people are feeling it themselves. The people understand what their daily reality is.
He accused the government of failing to create a high-growth, high-wage economy, leaving ordinary Jamaicans struggling despite claims of macroeconomic stability.
On my way here from last night, my constituents have been inundating me. They want to know where they can get the Pro Box that costs $2,000 per month. That if you put it aside, where they can buy that Pro Box.
Robinson rubbished the government's boast of economic stability, arguing that while tax revenues have increased, so has borrowing.
The member is misleading the House.
Mr. Speaker, you ever hear the saying, the wicked fleeth where no man pursueth? I didn't say you said it, but other people have been saying that we don't need to borrow. And that we have been using our own resources to fund everything, right? And it is inaccurate.
He also took aim at low economic growth.
It is important to note that Jamaica was one of among the very few Caribbean countries that, even though affected by Berry, that did not register positive growth after Berry. Now, what is even more alarming, Mr. Speaker, is that when you look at the FAO data for the Caribbean, only Haiti has a worse food insecurity record than Jamaica.
Robinson outlined the PNP's alternative vision, built on what he called a 4E strategy. The opposition also outlined a three-tiered cost of living plan, targeting young people, struggling parents, and seniors.
We will pivot from here and we will go over there.
For students, the opposition is suggesting a program called Ensuring Adequate Sustenance for Education, or EASE, which includes a commitment to providing one free meal per day for every student, whether or not they are PATH beneficiaries. For tertiary learners, the opposition is proposing an extended moratorium on student loan repayments and the implementation of income-based repayment options. For Jamaica's senior citizens, the opposition has proposed a cap on water bills.
And we will work out what that rate is.
Robertson also took aim at deficiencies in the banking sector, pledging to break the dominance of NCB and Scotiabank, allowing government deposits to be spread across multiple banks. The opposition leader is set to make his contribution to the budget debate in the coming days. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.